Hey guys, it's Jen, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to unload and load film onto your film camera. I'll be showing you some tips on how to make sure that you load your film correctly and how to avoid those black rolls. I've heard of some cases where people actually load their film and then they go out, take those pictures, only to find out that when they come home they have black rolls. So one of the reasons that this can happen is that either the film was not loaded correctly, you probably missed those little marks on the inside, or the film was just overexposed. I'm using a Pentax K1000, so I'll be showing you how to unload film using this camera. So I finally reached the end of my roll, and for me to rewind the film, I have to press this little button down here. So it's like a release button, so I have to keep it down, so I have to hold it down. So I'm just gonna use my other finger, so I'm holding it down here and pull this lever up here on the left side, and then crank this portion here clockwise. So while you're doing that, you should feel that there is some kind of resistance going on, because your film will be moving from this side going back to the canister. So let's do that. So yeah, so I feel the resistance, so I have to crank it down, and while you're doing that, you have to listen for that click. Okay, so I heard the click, and I'm now confident that the film is back in the canister. So the click actually means that your film strip comes from that, there's a slip that it was inserted on. The slip releases the film and then it goes back to the canister. But just to be sure, I'm just gonna crank it up a few more times, and you can feel that when you're doing that, there's no more resistance, so it's easier to actually rotate this. So once that's done, I can now pull this lever up and then pull it there, open the film canister, and I have my film. So I'm carefully removing this film roll that I'm using. It's the Kodak Tri-X400. And just make sure that you don't touch the sensor over here because it's very sensitive. So just pull it down and then lock it down. So that's it. You've got your film, and it's ready now for the developing stage. Now that we've removed the film, we're going to be putting on a new one. So this film that I'm going to be using is the Kodak Portra 400, which is a color negative. It's actually going to be my first time using a color negative, because I've been shooting with black and whites for the past few weeks. Now to open the camera, just have to pull this lever up here and then pull it up, and you hear this click. Then let's open. Then what we have to do now is to load this film to the camera. So carefully, we are gonna put the canister onto this left part here. Then you have to pull this strip all the way to the end, and as you see, there are this little holes or some slots in this side where you have to tuck the slip in. So just carefully we do that. And if you're moving the film, just make sure that you don't touch the middle. So try to keep your hands along the dotted lines. So make sure that it's securely fastened. Okay, now to make sure that your film is loaded correctly, you will see this little square marker here. It should be inside this little dotted lines on the film. So now our film is securely inside. So remember, this portion of the film, you shouldn't touch it. Once we close the camera, we have to take a few shots to, you know, make sure that the roll that we're gonna be using is not overexposed. So when you wind the film, this part here should also turn this at the same time. So yeah, it is turning. So we know that the film is actually changing and it's moving onto this section over here. Now you have to make sure that your ISO is set according to what's indicated on the film. So if I'm using the Portra 400, it means my ISO should be at 400. Now you'll find the ISO on this very small box on the dial of the shutter speed. Now in order to change that, you have to pull the dial up on the side and then rotate it. So it should be set at 400 and you should be good to go. Now you finally unloaded your film and you've got your new film on your camera, and it's time for you to go out there and take shots, really good shots, with this new film of yours. In my next video, I'll be showing you how I develop film at home. So please stay tuned and continue to support this channel and support analog photography. Film is not dead. Bye!